colleagues. Aha, you are more than I thought. It's quite daunting being up here. And it is even more daunting when you're the last presenter of the day, not just day, but the conference. It is what my friend Monchari calls the graveyard. What did you call it, Monchari? Graveyard shift? So 2 disadvantages of being the last presenter. People are tired. They just want to get over with this. Hopefully there is something like there was yesterday, so I'm standing between you and that something. And second, it is after lunch. Most of the stuff has already been spoken. It has been said. One of the complaints I heard from the participants when we were chatting today was that there is a lot of repetition. So as a last presenter, what am I likely to say that has not already been said? So, to get you away from your mobile phones, please stand up. Graveyard shift, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. Yes, yes, good, good. I can see most of us are now paying attention, which is a good thing. I want you to stretch a bit, just stretch a bit, move around a bit. Let that food settle. Yeah, not settle in a way that will make you sleepy. Thank you very much. Please sit down. Now, there's a bottle of water in front of you. If you haven't already drank your water, please open your bottle of water and take a sip. Kindly. I'm going somewhere with this, by the way. There is some method to this madness, and it is cyber related. So, yeah, you took a sip? Good. I'm going to talk about something we all know. It's not something new. We have been talking about it since yesterday morning, and even before we came to this conference, we have spoken about it before. Cybersecurity awareness campaigns. But I'm going to talk about why they fail. We probably already know, but I'll talk slightly, touch a bit on why they fail. We are going to explore the 8th layer of cybersecurity, which is the human, yeah? And we're going to look at the complexities of human nature. Why we think the things we think and why we do the things we do. Every human is different. Without further ado, this is something we already saw yesterday. So again, my apologies for everything that I am going to show or say that has already been said. We saw this from Anna of Know Before. It is a fog behavior model. It explains the psychological, why things happen the way they do. For a behavior to happen, for any behavior to happen, 3 things must coincide. 3 things must happen. Not 2, not 1, 3. There must be motivation. You must be motivated. An individual must be motivated to perform that behavior. There must be ability. Ability is how hard or easy it is to do. And there must be a prompt. The prompt is the magic. It is the thing that makes it happen. Okay? So you have motivation, you have ability, but without the prompt, you don't do it. So prompts are in 2 kinds. There are 2 types of prompts. There are internal prompts and there are external prompts. Internal prompts are the ones that make you do something without, it's inside you. It's in your mind, it's in you. Internal prompts. Now, by a show of hands, how many had already taken water before I prompted them to take? How many had already opened their bottle and had taken water? Show of hands, please. Okay, so you had an internal prompt to take the water. How many opened their bottle for the first time and took a sip when I asked them to? Show of hands. Come on. Exactly. There are a few. There are not many, but there are a few. That is an external prompt. It was easy to do. How hard is it to open your bottle of water and take it? It's easy, right? It's right there in front of you. It's easy to open. So in terms of ability, it's easy to do. So ability is high. Motivation is kind of high, I am hoping, or at least medium, because we all know that taking water is healthy, yeah? Take water, especially after a meal. It is healthy, so motivation is relatively high. But without the prompt, internal or external, you don't take the water. Most of us know, it has been said, and you know for a fact, that we have a certain addiction towards our mobile phones. Somebody said today, if they forgot their handbag, or if they walked out, maybe you can make even this more interesting. If they walked out the door and realized, they have driven half the way to work and realized they had worn the wrong pair of shoes. I've done that before. My shoes are all black, so I wear the wrong pair. You know what I mean? It's not a pair. And I spent the whole day, without realizing, until when I got home in the evening, I'm removing my shoes and wondering, wait a minute. So if there was a situation like that, you forget you wear the wrong pair of shoes, and you're halfway through to the office, would you go back to the house? Vis-a-vis if you forgot your phone. Most likely you'd go back because of the phone. You'll be like, I don't care about my shoes. Why is anybody worried about my shoes? But you can't do it without our phones. We are addicted. We are not just addicted to the phones. We are addicted to specific things in the phones. We are probably, Tim has left. Tim of M-Pesa. I was going to tell him we are probably not addicted to M-Pesa. Because most times we are the ones sending, the people in this room. Most times you are the ones sending, right? So you are probably not addicted to the M-Pesa app. We are addicted to our social media apps, right? WhatsApps and all these other things. Now, those social media apps have hired professional behavior scientists to design those apps to make them addictive. It is on record. It is it has been documented. Not just social media, but many other things that we do. Netflix, for example. There is actually a documentary on Netflix about this. They send us prompts to make us look at our apps. Those prompts are usually in text messages, yeah? So you are going about your business, you're in a meeting, you're in a conference like this, then ting, your social media app sends you a prompt, and tells you somebody is following you or somebody has DM'd you. What does that do? It triggers a behavior. It's very, and by the way, this link, this prompt, it has a sound, and then you see it. When you see it on the message itself, it's probably an SMS. On the message itself, there's a link. So it has made it very easy. From an ability perspective, it is very easy for you to go to whoever has DM'd you. They have made the ability, it's very easy to do. The prompt is there, and the motivation is there. You are curious. You want to know who's DMing you or whatever it is. So behavior design, behavior science is major. Marketers have used it for years. But we will keep exploring that as we go along. So I have talked about behaviors, I've talked about habits. Habits are automatic behaviors. They are behaviors that are triggered by an internal prompt, not an external prompt. If it's external, then it's not a habit. If it's something you do without being prompted externally, then that is a habit. If you have many habits, they form a routine. What do you do when you wake up? The first thing that you do when you wake up, apart from opening your eyes, of course, and getting out of bed, what's the first thing you do? I don't know what you do. You probably reach out for your phone. You probably go to the bathroom. You probably, I don't know, take a shower. But there are certain things that you do. There are certain habits that you exhibit every time you wake up in the morning. And those habits, those automatic behaviors that you don't need to be prompted, you know what you need to do when you wake up in the morning. That sequence of habits forms your routine. All these things lead to how people behave when it comes to security awareness. So we have said, let's perform security awareness. Let's do security awareness for our teams. But do we do those security awareness trainings in such a way that we reinforce automatic behaviors? Yeah? Those are the questions I want to keep us asking. Because if we don't answer these questions, then we cannot design security awareness campaigns that work. They will keep failing. I want to talk about heuristics. Again, this is behavior science. It is a complex subject. It's something I'm studying. I'm very interested in behavior science. The human aspects of cybersecurity are something we cannot take for granted. Most of us here understand technology. We love technology. Technology almost always works. When was the last time your firewall was hacked? It doesn't happen. Nobody spends time trying to hack a firewall. It's difficult. It takes a lot of energy. And what I mean by energy is resource. You know, the work factor for trying to break a firewall is high. But what's the work factor for breaking a human? Social engineering, we have talked about it over and over again. So attackers no longer use the hard way. They use the simple way by hacking the human. Heuristics are mental shortcuts that human beings make. Now, our brains were not built for thoroughness. They were built for efficiency. We make very quick decisions. Our brains were built to make quick decisions without thinking, so to speak. It's a brain, but it's not thinking. We make quick decisions. They were built for efficiency. We do not have time to weigh all the options. These mental shortcuts help us solve problems quickly, make quick judgments. These heuristics, or these mental shortcuts, used over and over again, lead us to what are called cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are errors in judgment. So you are trying to think, but your thinking is already biased. Yeah? And we'll talk a little about a few of those biases. One of them is something like herd instinct bias. Herd instinct. You see the way cows follow each other. Cows, animals, sheep, goats, they herd together. So do humans, by the way. If you go into any big hall like this and you're the first person, you will never sit by yourself. You sit somewhere close to someone. And then over time, you spread across the room. It is herd bias. But more specifically, people tend to do the things that the group does, even if you think that that is not the right thing to do. That is what used to happen when I was in campus many years ago. In riots, the rioters, the people who used to lead riots, are very few, 3, 4, 5, 10. The rest of them are part of the herd. You are thinking, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be banning this car. This could be my brother, my father, You remember those days of university riots? When students used to burn vehicles? The people who used to instigate those things were not many. But the rest followed as part of the herd. And there are many other biases. These cognitive biases influence why we do what we do, how we do what we do, why we think the things we think. So in your workplace, who is leading the riot? Because those are the people you need to change. If you can change the people who lead the riot, as far as cybersecurity is concerned, for your organization, then the herd moves in a different direction. So if there's somebody who's glorifying, I never do those, I write my passwords down. I mean, how do they expect us to remember a strong password that changes every 30 days and it has to be different for every account? Come on, these guys are not serious. These cybersecurity guys, they just make our life hard. I never do that. That's the guy you need to target so that he can tell a different story. Yeah? But there are many other biases. And we'll talk just a few about them as we go along. This leads us to decision-making theories. There are two main systems or modes of thinking. System 1 and system 2. The system 1 mode of thinking is automatic. It is effortless. It is instinctive. We do not spend time to think. Okay? So, for example, if you are driving, you never think about where is my foot or where is the gear stick. You just do these things. Before, when you were learning to drive, it was not automatic. It was reflective. You were actually thinking and checking. Okay? Or swimming. Before, if you can swim, before you learn how to swim, you have to remember, where is my hand? Where is my head? And you drank a lot of water when you were learning to swim. It was system 2. It was reflective. It was slow. You were thinking. You were considering factors. And you are drinking water. Or riding a bike. When you're learning how to ride a bike, you use system 2. Thinking, mode of thinking. It is reflective. It considers data. So when you're going to make a presentation, it is reflective. You stand in front of your board or executive management, and you give statistics. It's reflective. But system 1 is automatic. Now, 95% of the decisions that we make as human beings are system 1. So, is your security awareness training people for system 1 thinking or system 2 thinking? In our security awareness programs, we give too much data. We talk about statistics. We build a training program that people need to remember. We even write it the same way we were taught in school. You know, people cram things, cram our security awareness training because there's an exam and they need to pass it. In most organizations, in the organization I work in at least, it is mandatory to do a security awareness training, and you must pass the exam. So people do it the same way you read books to pass an exam. You need to remember, you need to think. It is system 2. But when it comes to doing, when you send a simulated phishing attack, do people have time to reflect and think and weigh options? And no. 95% of the decisions we make today as humans, you, me, everyone, 95% are system 1. They're automatic. So we must design our awareness training to target automatic thinking. There is also what is known as the nudge theory. Nudge theory goes back to, if you remember the FOG model, behavior model, there is behavior equals motivation plus ability times prompt, MAP. Motivation times ability times prompt. So prompt can also be called a nudge. A nudge is an aspect of the choice architecture. Choice architecture is all the choices you have. Right now you have the choice to stand up and walk. You have the choice to be on your phone. That is the choice architecture. However, depending on how you are nudged, that choice architecture can be influenced so that you do something different. Okay? You remember the story of Cambridge Analytica. They nudged people slowly, and so do marketers. Everything that you watch on a billboard or on an advertisement is nudging you towards a certain behavior, but it doesn't force you. A nudge does not force. So it doesn't forbid any option. You still have your options, but you are being nudged in a certain way. All these things come into play when it comes to how our users behave and ourselves. I know we fall for the same things that we teach our users not to fall for, right? How many of you have sent money when they received that famous SMS for Kenyans? That famous SMS. Mtoto ameumwa na nyoka, tafadhali nitumie shilingi 20. How many have fallen for that? Come on. It's okay. I have. Mimi nilituma mpaka ya kutoa. Because I have children. And I asked myself. So I put myself, I'm a human. So again, human nature. So I put myself in a situation. I told myself, this child who needs only 20 shillings to be taken to hospital could be my own child. They could be in Baringo, some I don't know where. I just imagined some place that getting to the hospital is difficult. Mutoto atakufa kwa sababu ya 20 bob. I have it. I don't even have any use for it. I mean, not that I don't have any use for it, but come on, guys, 20 shillings. I sent mpaka ya kutoa so that the kid does not die. We fall for these things every day. Social engineering works because social engineers have understood these things that we are talking about today. They use human nature against us. So it is time we turned the tables and as cybersecurity professionals use human nature against social engineers by empowering our people to recognize those things. So hacking the human is easy. We know it is, because it keeps happening. Every time you send out a simulated phishing attack or some other kind of attack, people fall for it. Some people fall for it several times. We have had stories here about how if you fall, I think it's Tom who told us that if you failed the simulated phishing attack several times, you would have a discussion with the CEO. And I'm sure that is not a good discussion. It's not a discussion you want to have. Actually, it might not even be a bad discussion. It might not even say anything bad to you, but do you want to meet the CEO under such circumstances? So, hacking humans is easy. It happens every day. It's an industry that pays bills for people. In Kenya alone, the number of people who are making a living out of social engineering are many. They take their children to probably better schools than you take your own children. They're making money out of this. So it follows what are called quirks of the brain. Reciprocity. Reciprocity is the need that we feel as human beings to reciprocate for what we get. Pay back in equal measure. So if somebody slaps you, you slap them back. Yeah, I know the good book says you give the other cheek, but you know what I mean. If somebody does something good for you, you do good for them, all right? That is reciprocity. Actually, it is based on reciprocity bias. There is a bias called reciprocity bias. Look it up when you have some time. So what happens is, social engineers will do something good for you. For example, if somebody wants to get some private information about the institution you work in, they will walk next to you, they will sit next to you. Tom, I'll use you as a guinea pig here. And because I know where Tom spends his Saturday afternoons with a cold drink watching some stuff on the TV, they will send a beautiful girl. Yeah, I know, Tom, you know. So they'll send a beautiful girl. She will sit next to Tom, and when a score is, when the team scores against Tom's team, because I also know the team that Tom supports and it hardly ever scores, the girl will tell him, Pole, boss, can I buy you a drink? By the way, I can't remember the last time I was bought a drink. Me, this one would work on me. When was the last time you were bought a drink by a girl? I can't remember. So a girl will buy Tom a drink, and they keep talking, and now Tom is feeling, reciprocative, and he will buy her a drink, and they'll keep talking, and then she asks him, so Tom, what do you do? Tom now is feeling, yeah. So I'm the head of IT in Unga Holdings. His voice has gone down 3 decibels. At the end of that evening, she will probably have found the information that she wanted. By the way, what encryption algorithms do you guys use? Although Tom has already told us most of it today, without being prompted. He's a good guy. So what firewall brand do you guys use? Oh, that's so interesting. I'm interested in cyber. It's exciting for me. Reciprocity. Men have used it for decades in dating. You buy a girl coffee, Tom. Now it's the other way around. You buy a girl coffee several times. At some point, it's going to be very easy to ask for reciprocation, and you don't want coffee. Sorry, how do I go back? Oh, thank you. Consistency, social proof. People follow what others seem to like. Social proof or liking. Advertisements never have ugly people. Have you ever seen an advertisement that has an ugly person? They either use people we know and admire socially, or beautiful and handsome people. Advertisers have been hacking humans for decades. They understand how humans work. People tend to do things that others do. If right now you walked outside KICC, near the water fountain there, which no longer works, and looked up KICC, and stood there for like a minute, 2 other people would join you. And they ask you, what are you looking at? No, you just don't tell them anything, just point. Then in 3 minutes, another 3 people will join you. In 30 minutes, there is a crowd. You can actually walk away. You're the one who started it. You can walk away and come back 3 hours, and there are still people pointing. And they don't know why they are doing it. It happens, right? Social proof. Human beings tend to do what we think others are doing. That is why, again, a speaker here said that talking about how poor passwords, how people choose poor passwords is a bad thing for information security practitioners. Never say it in your awareness training. Don't say, in this bank, we have done some assessment and we have found, sorry for saying bank, I work in banks, and we have found that 90% of the people use poor passwords. Password 1, 2, 3, 90%. If you say 90% of the people are using poor passwords, everybody is like, wait, I am only part of the 10%. I'm the only crazy person who uses a passphrase. I am going to be using poor passwords. Social proof. Never use it. Never use it. Use the other way around. Say the positive things. Human brains do not process negation. Okay? Remember that. Human beings do not process negation. So don't say, do not. I'm sorry, I am already negating. Instead of telling people what not to do, tell people what to do. Human brains do not process negation. Authority is like those emails that come from the CEO or another figure, authority figure. And if, I can say I'm over time, I'm sorry. I'm finishing very quickly. If an email comes from your CEO, it is very likely that somebody will act on it very quickly. But if it comes from, I'm sorry to say, but you know, if the same phishing email is sent from, it's probably not going to be acted upon, right? So people tend to respect authority. If somebody in uniform, in a police uniform, walked into this room and said, tokeni nyinyi wote, some of us would be outside the door before we ask, by the way, tunatoka kwa nini? But if some guy, some random guy, not in uniform, came and said, tokeni nyinyi wote, the first question is, kwa nini? Tunaenda wapi? Sorry. Yeah, for non-Kenyans. Yeah, I will try not to use a lot of Swahili so that we can move along. Scarcity. There is another bias called scarcity bias. The value of something seems to go higher when it is made to sound scarce. Again, marketers use this all the time. 3 pieces remaining. And there have been 3 pieces remaining for the last 1 month. So human beings are hacked in these different ways. So a phishing email will probably contain 3 or 4 of these things. It will come from a high person, somebody who has rank. It will talk about urgency. This thing needs to be done today. That's scarcity, right? Scarcity bias. So it's trying to say, if you don't click today, you don't win the iPhone. Where is the iPhone, man? Yeah. Today, now, put your card here. And that card needs to be stamped. He's prompting you. Prompt, eh? We use them every day, every single day. So, principles of human hacking, if you want your security program to work with, not against human nature. Never work against human nature. Work with human nature. Help people do what they already want to do. Don't force people to do things they don't like to do. Like passwords, surely. We need to move from using passwords to passwordless. Yeah? And we talked about it yesterday, zero trust, SASE. We need to go in that direction as cybersecurity professionals, yeah? So that we stop using passwords. Passwords are past tense. Stories about cybersecurity incidents have more and stronger impacts. Give stories about cybersecurity incidents. Tell people how, because of a certain incident in Bank A, those guys were not able to get bonuses for that year. That will have a profound effect on those people. Close the knowledge, intention, behavior gap. Just because I know doesn't mean I care. Just because I know doesn't mean I care. There is a path, it's cornered like this. There is a grass patch, and it has been written, keep off grass. But what do people do? They do not walk like this. They walk across. Exactly where it's written, do not keep off grass. Rather, not do not keep off grass. Where it's written, keep off grass. Just because I know doesn't mean I care. Security awareness should not be about giving knowledge. People know. How many users in your organization know what passwords they should be using? And I'm sorry for using passwords. I'm beating this horse. But how many people know how to choose passwords or don't know? Everybody knows how to choose strong passwords. They know they shouldn't be reusing them. They know. They don't care. There is no incentive. What is in it for me? We are human beings. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me. Yeah? These politicians who are forming alliances are not forming alliances because they like each other or because they hate each other. They are forming alliances because they're asking, what's in it for me? What's in it for your employee? What is in it for your user to be cyber secure? And last, be aware of different organization culture and the characteristics that are in that culture. So if you are working in an institution where people call each other sir, there is large power separation, where if you are walking to the lift and you see the boss, you walk back and decide, I can take the stairs. If you work in an organization like that, then you must design your security awareness in such a way that you keep telling people about that authority part. Those are the people where if an email comes from the boss, if it's a boss you cannot share a lift with, now imagine an email that is asking you to send something to him. You will send immediately. Then after you send, you're like, wait a minute. Did it really come from the boss? But if it's low separation, where you can enter the lift with the CEO and you're asking, by the way, unashukia kwako leo ama utaenda cafeteria kwanza? If it's low power separation in your organization, then you know that if an email comes from the CEO, the guy can actually call the CEO and say, sir, I have received, maybe not sir, John, I have received an email from you asking for certain information. Are you the one who sent it? Because there is low power separation. So understand the culture in your organization. I would have wanted to take questions, but this man, who is a computer man, called random access memory, will not allow me. Thank you very much.